I call to order the spring congregational meeting of the First Unitarian Universalist Church of San Antonio on the 17th day of May, 2020. Good afternoon. On behalf of the board, I welcome all of you to a very unique congregational meeting during this worldwide COVID-19 pandemic. We are doing the work of the church, just in very different ways. We will be discussing three main topics today for your consideration. One is a recommendation to change the way we are currently administering our church Share the Plate program. Two, Donna Pereira, our treasurer, will discuss the church budget for next year. And three, we will approve our new leadership slate for next year. One of our leadership development chairs will present the slate. Reverend Mark and I also have a special presentation. A reminder, this event is not live and the chat room is not being moderated. At the conclusion of the complete video, the church office will send out via MailChimp the voting ballot. Using a ballot instead of our usual voice and hand votes was an option recommended by the UUA for many churches who are holding congregational meetings at this time of year under these unique circumstances. You will have until midnight tonight to vote the ballot. Results will be tabulated and sent out to the congregation by noon tomorrow. We will also count the number of ballots received to count toward our quorum requirements. We have had two very well-attended live Zoom town hall meetings where people who had questions or comments about the topics under consideration today could speak with board members. There were some changes made as a result of those town halls, and you have received any changes. The ballot will also reflect any changes. If you need technical assistance to vote, we have set up several helplines. Please use them if you need to. A congregational meeting is a difficult event to coordinate under good circumstances. We believe we have done our best to get it done in the virtual world. I'd like to thank the board for helping put together this year's congregational meeting, unique as it is. And with that, I ask our minister, Mark Skrabats, to offer opening words and light our chalice this afternoon.
As we light our chalice, and approach our annual meeting agenda, let us remember that we are doing our work as a congregation, one with ministries and a mission based on democratic and egalitarian principles, where diversity of opinion and lifestyle is included and celebrated, and the search for justice and truth is ongoing and open-ended. When we do our work today as a congregation, we will touch lives. And when we touch lives, we can change the world. May this chalice flame remind us throughout our meeting of our ministries and our mission.
As is usual with congregational meetings, we normally approve the minutes from last year's congregational meeting. The minutes of last year's meeting were provided to you and will be the first item on your ballot. The first item on our agenda this afternoon is a recommended adaptation to their Share the Plate program. The Share the Plate program was started at our church over 10 years ago. The program takes checks and unprogrammed cash from one offering a month and gives it to another nonprofit organization that the congregation has voted on. The amount of money collected varies, but is averaged anywhere from $500 to $2,200 per Sunday, roughly estimated. Share the Plate money went to small nonprofits who could really benefit from these small amounts of cash. Organizations were nominated by congregants, then voted on during the May congregational meeting. Congregants could pick 9 different nonprofits. The 9 with the most votes would be scheduled for one Sunday a month throughout the church year. Over time, our congregation donated anywhere from $5,000 to $20,000 annually to organizations outside the church. According to this year's annual report, the amount was about $7,500. These amounts are in addition to money given by the Community Responsibility and Endowment Fund, or CREF, which also gives to local nonprofits. During our most recent round of cottage meetings, many people said that while they liked the idea of Share the Plate, our church had many unfunded needs and that these same contributions could help those. Many alluded to CREF being a sufficient program to send money out of the church, and perhaps Share the Plate could morph into a help ourselves type program. The change offered today is an incremental yet equitable solution to this suggestion. I will read the motion. The motion reads that the Share the Plate program, as currently organized for giving to external organizations of the church, be modified. Share the Plate would still exist, but some money would go to internal church projects instead of external groups. Also, a Share the Plate month would be set aside for CREF, Trust Fund of the Endowments, the Ministerial Discretionary Fund, and U-Bar-U. Of the remaining Share the Plate months, or 8, half or 4, would go to fund small church projects or one large project. The other half would continue to be used to support social justice nonprofit organizations. Program management would be shared by the Social Justice Committee and the Facilities Committee. Congregants would be given options to choose from by both committees before the church Share the Plate year would begin. A yes vote for this motion will modify the Share the Plate program as described. A no vote for this motion will keep the program as it is currently organized.
Good morning. My name is Donna Pereira and I'm the treasurer for First UU. I hope that you've all had a chance to look at the budget that was sent to you along with the information for the congregational meeting. I'd just like to highlight a few items. Our pledge income, while less than we had hoped, was healthy considering the circumstances, but we reduced our expectations of outside rentals and other income because our buildings have been closed and will continue to be closed until we're confident it's safe for us to return. As we were able to obtain a PPP loan from the SBA, we could not only balance our budget, but allow for some much needed additional items. The PPP loan is from Frost Bank and is backed by the federal government. As long as we use the funds for certain specific items, payroll and associated costs, mortgage and utility payments, this loan will be forgiven and will convert to a grant. We are confident that we can use the funds appropriately and thus acquire no additional debt. Committee requests were funded for a basic budget. We have continued to pay our staff through the closure, and many of the items on the budget are fixed. We added some additional funds to the reserve for capital improvements. I think we all agree that our facilities need some work, and this $10,000 will go for items to be determined later. We added $3,000 to be used when we begin our search for a settled minister. A search committee will be formed later this year, and we wanted to have some funds available for research, surveys, and other items. More will be needed in the budget for next year. Because we have had such a positive response to our services on YouTube, it is obvious to the board that we need to upgrade our ability to produce videos for those who may either choose to or need to stay at home, and to improve the church experience for those who attend church physically. $25,000 will be used to purchase video screens for the sanctuary and to update our sound and video systems. An additional $10,000 will be used for technical support to help us get started with this new venture. In past years, we have nearly always paid our UUA dues in the fair share. Last year, we were unable to do so. We decided to fully fund our assessment this year. With the challenges we have faced during the past year with the abrupt departure of our minister and the coronavirus crisis, the board has made extensive use of the resources provided by the UUA, and we expect to continue to do so. It is important to us that we indicate our commitment as Unitarian Universalists and not just as members of First UU of San Antonio. The board spent a great deal of time discussing this budget. It went through many changes as we moved through the weeks prior to the congregational meeting. We are immensely grateful for the continued financial support from our members, and we believe that the budget we have presented is conservative, reasonable, and we ask for your support. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Annalise Cothran. I am the Leadership Development Co-Chair, and I'm here to present the 2020-2021 leadership slate to the congregation for you to vote. First, I wanted to say thank you so much to the Leadership Development Committee. It's been particularly challenging to put together a slate this year while we are remaining physically distant. Most of the time we identify leaders and we identify interest for committees, and those conversations that we have on the patio and the ability to talk in between the service and in between RE classes. So it was particularly challenging this year to identify members for the slate. And I think that the committee has done a wonderful job putting together the slate for you to review and approve. And I just want to say thank you to them first and foremost. But most importantly, I want to say thank you to everybody who agreed to serve as leadership for this upcoming year. I think we're all dealing with a new normal and recognizing that the value of our ministry, even when we're physically distant, is incredibly critical to our congregation and our community. So thank you so much for agreeing to serve. So I'd like to present you with the proposed slate for the 2020-2021 leadership, which will begin in June, pending congregation approval and vote. As I go through the slate, the new nominees will be indicated in blue and open positions will be indicated in red. For the purposes of this video, I will be calling out the blue names, which are the new nominees, and I will not be reading every name listed. For the Board of Trustees, LDC nominates Gail Morrow to serve as Vice President and Troy Peters to serve as a Director at Large. Moving on to the committees of the church. These committees must be voted on and approved for not just the chairs, but also all members of the committee. For the Committee on Ministry, LDC nominates Diane Dusterhoft and River Fay. For CREF, LDC nominates Ozma Khan, Jason Northrup, and Heather Marisu. For Leadership Development, LDC nominates Vicki Tullius. For program committees, you will only see the chairs of these committees, although there are members that serve. The congregation only needs to vote on and approve the leadership of these committees. For Denominational Connection, LDC nominates Mike Phillips. For Green Team, LDC nominates Cheryl Lardy. For Member Care, LDC nominates Betty Bergner. For Membership Chair, LDC nominates David Rodriguez. For Rainbow Inclusion, LDC nominates Pam Eiler. I do want to note one open position, and that is for the co-chair of Youth Religious Education. For Social Justice Chair, LDC nominates Rico Espinoza. For Worship Chair, LDC nominates Hiram Skaggs. I also wanted to take this time to request that you consider a leadership position. There are many committees that are in need of members. And while all of our committees are absolutely critical, and if you feel like you can support their work, then you should certainly go to the church website and email the chairs of those committees using the emails found there. But committees that are in particular need of members are stewardship, first and foremost, facilities and grounds, member care, worship, and maintenance and repair. If you feel like you could support any of those committees, in particular stewardship, again, just head to the church website and you can send an email to the chair of those committees. You can also reach me at leadership@uusat.org, and I'm happy to connect you to any committees that you might be interested in. Again, I want to say thank you so much to any member who has agreed to serve as leadership of this church. Your time, talent, and treasure is critical right now to this community. And so I want you to know that you are valued and very needed and appreciated during this time. Thank you so much.
Our church doors have been physically closed for a little more than 2 months, and our members, leaders, and staff have done a wonderful job pulling together and creating a virtual church for all of us. We still have Sunday services, and they're getting better all the time. Adult and children's religious education, covenant groups are still meeting, and we're still doing the work of the church.
In fact, the new ways we've found to be together as a beloved community have actually brought many people back into the life of our church. We're finding deeper connections with fewer competing demands in our lives. Some of the lessons we're learning about different ways of being together may continue once we can physically congregate.
As most of you know, there are no legal prohibitions to churches physically meeting, and some churches are again opening their doors. Most are not. And for the time being, our church will not reopen. We are people of reason and science, and we want the science to guide our actions. We also want to make sure we do everything we can to safeguard our congregation so that people are safe and feel safe when they return to church.
So we're taking information from all quarters and preparing reopening plans, but these plans have no dates associated with them. Most medical professionals tell us that without more testing, we really do not have a good understanding of the overall spread and control of the virus. And until more testing is available, we must continue the social distancing and proper hygiene protocols with which all of us are now familiar. And people over 65 and people with underlying conditions remain at risk and should shelter in place for the indefinite future.
As businesses begin reopening this month, all of us are carefully watching to see the effect on the continued spread of this coronavirus. Staff and leadership are closely monitoring our local situation and taking cues from our city leadership and other churches in the city. We will open our doors responsibly.
The truth is, right now, the way is not clear. And we must ask two simple questions before we engage our reopening plans. Are people safe? Do people feel safe? The answers are no for now, but bear with us.
Please take advantage of all the virtual opportunities the church is making available. If you have ideas for more engagement or need technological assistance, let leadership know.
Also, please keep taking care of yourselves and each other. If you need help, reach out. Someone will be here for you.
We will get through this pandemic, but we will no doubt be changed from the experience.
The one thing we must continue to do is keep chasing our congregational dreams. As has been said many times, we, the congregation, are the church, not the place nor the buildings. And we owe a debt to those who have formed us as well as to those many seekers who have yet to walk through our doors, real or virtual. Take heart in our future. It still awaits us.
In a church, we give thanks for many things. Today, I want to offer a special thank you to all the people who volunteer for leadership within the church, both those staying in leadership and those departing. This church would not function without the legion of volunteers who donate their time and talents of all sorts. This is especially true in trying times as these. Thank you all. I have some special thank yous today. First, I would like to thank our fellow member, Ron Meneses, who is the videographer behind the scenes, who has been producing the final versions of Sunday services that we have all been enjoying. His added touches give beauty and meaning to our experience of online worship. Thank you so much, Ron. We will continue to enjoy your productions. I also want to thank our new consulting minister, Reverend Mark Skrabats, who has made such significant contributions to our church in such a short period of time, including actually postponing his retirement and moving from Austin with his wife, Carolyn, to be among us. We really look forward to our next years together in shared leadership and team ministry. And last, but certainly not least, I would like to thank David Rodriguez for being at the helm this year as president. This has been a difficult year, but David met the challenges and guided us through them with both wisdom and compassion. He was the leader we needed this year, and the impact of his wonderful leadership remains today. We have a special farewell for you, David, on behalf of the board.
David, we wanted to thank you so much for all that you've done for us as president. You have been amazing, and we really appreciate how you helped us through that most lovely time. It was very, very stressful. I know you remember. And we can't thank you enough for getting us through it. And thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
David, your leadership has been amazing, continuous, and filled with kindness and love. Just what we would expect of you.
David, you've been remarkable. Thank you so much for being the captain of this ship for better part of a year. It's been a rough year for you especially, but for all of us. We wish you nothing but good luck in the future and whatever you do. And we know that whatever you do, you'll be great. Hope to see you in the pulpit again soon too. Thanks.
David, thank you so much for everything you've done over this last very busy and very interesting year. It has been an absolute pleasure serving with you on the board, and I look forward to working with you in plenty of other ways in the years to come.
Thank you, David. Your leadership during this last year was exactly what we needed during a very difficult time. And I personally appreciate the work that you have done and all of the places that you have stepped in where we needed you. And I'm sure the rest of the congregation would agree with me completely. Thank you.
David, you've really been a superstar. We know this is not a job that you would have taken on probably had you known what was coming, but you were really amazing, and your ability to manage all of these various ping pong balls really flying in the air was terrific. We really appreciate your service. I loved working with you and hope to do so again someday.
And David, regardless of the circumstances that we had this year, you always displayed wisdom and compassion and helped the board determine the best solutions to any problem that came our way. And we appreciated that you were at the helm in some pretty difficult times. So we all thank you very much. You're a valued member of the congregation, and we wish you all the best in your next job as membership chair. Thank you. Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Thanks, David.
Thank you.
As we extinguish the light to end our meeting and leave this virtual space where we have worked, conversed, and made choices, may we be grateful for our leaders who have stepped up and those who will step back. And let us be grateful for all our church members and friends, both present and absent, and for all who have ever participated in our church, and for those who may yet find our beloved community, and for those we can't even imagine who may join us. For we are dedicated to building a beloved community in which all are valued. For each of us and for all of us, we give thanks.
The 2020 Spring Congregational Meeting of the First Unitarian Universalist Church of San Antonio now stands adjourned. Thank you.